Welcome to
Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig.
I'm from Barranquilla, Colombia, and I really enjoy Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
I really enjoy the topic they cover.
I have been listening to Reza and Greg's podcast for 2 years, and they helped me a lot to improve my fluency and listening skills.
The basic aim of our podcast is simply to help our listeners improve their English and take it up to the next level. It's a podcast which is geared above all, but not exclusively to Spanish speakers. Thus the title, Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig.
We get messages from people who have managed to get promoted at work because their English has improved. They've found jobs and passed job interviews because their English has got better. I've always been interested in online learning and audio production, and in 2010 I started a solo podcast. But it wasn't very good, so I thought, how can I make it better? My friend Reza. Reza is an old friend and a colleague from work in the British Council in Valencia, and in 2014 he joined me as a co-host on the podcast, and immediately the podcast became better. And we've been podcasting every week ever since, releasing an episode every Sunday.
Craig and we've been teaching for quite a while, but that in itself, in my opinion, is not enough to produce a good podcast. For me, an absolutely essential element, and I know Craig agrees, is the feedback from listeners.
Next, we have a voice message from Guatemala from our friend Elmer.
Hello, Reza and Craig. This is Elmer from Guatemala. I hope you guys doing well. I'm here to improve my English.
Although most of the people who listen to the podcast do have Spanish as their mother tongue, it's English that is the glue that keeps the community together and binds us together as a podcasting community. And the listeners are very much a part of that. They send in voice feedback that we feature on the show every week, and we help them to improve their speaking a little bit and compliment them when their English is really good, as it often is.
Making every listener to the podcast feel that they're important, that they are part of a community, that we genuinely are interested in their problems in English or their little stories, and we want to help them. That is an absolutely essential part of our success, I think.
I appreciate their sense of humor.
Their fantastic sense of humor.
There is not a better way than learning while you are having fun.
We also use quite a lot of humour in the podcast, and we try to personalise it as much as possible, giving examples from our lives as well. On a personal level, I think that when I search for a podcast, I usually look for the content of the podcast, but I stay listening for the host.
A lot of listeners say that they not only learn English with us, but they have a good laugh. We tell really bad jokes, or we say silly things that I think make it very, very personal, very human. It's not just a clinical learning experience. We kind of mix in the little funny things that happen in everyday life to everyone around the world.
You might be thinking about starting your own podcast. If you are, be prepared for the long haul. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Don't expect to be an overnight hit. It doesn't work that way. Craig and I started off very slowly with very few listeners, and it built up over the years, and now we're pretty successful. But you got to have patience.
It takes quite a long time to build a community and grow an audience. But hey, jump in. The water's lovely and warm. If you want to listen to our podcast, go to inglespodcast.com. And also, if you want to contact us, we'd be very pleased to hear from you.